Hi students, sorry for being late. I took considerably little more gap from my previous video because of obvious reasons, but I have come back fresh with a new topic. I hope my previous videos were quite helpful to you all for preparing your forthcoming board exams. Please keep watching the previous videos very thoroughly and do the related numerical problems. I'm sure you all will be able to score very good marks. So today we are here to start a new topic, money and banking. This is module 1. So this topic will have around 3 modules, and this topic carries 8 marks, I believe, or 6 to 8 marks in your board exams. Chapter is very easy, topic is very easy, provided you go through properly and understand the concepts properly. So definitely you will be getting good marks. 6 out of 6 marks you are going to get. So let us start. What is money and banking? The topic is all about money and banking. So let us first discuss what is money. We all know that money is basically commonly accepted medium of exchange. Commonly accepted medium of exchange. So whatever we accept as a medium of exchange, that is known as money. Okay, it should have a government approval. For example, if government decides a piece of chalk has 10 rupees, so definitely the 10 rupees, the chalk piece will have the value of rupees 10. Okay, so now what is money? If we want to know that what is money, money is the commonly accepted medium of exchange. It is commonly accepted medium of exchange, right? And it should have a legal approval from the government. And suppose government decides a particular thing as money, so it becomes money. It should have a legal approval. So money had its own history, and before the evolution of money, or rather before the introduction of money, we had a barter system. Okay, so barter system, what is barter system? Barter system means exchange of goods for goods. Basically, barter means of exchange of commodities to commodities. So it is also known as commodity to commodity economy, also known as CC economy. Okay, this is barter system. Barter system means where goods used to be exchanged for goods. Okay, I have certain goods, I will give to somebody and I will take what I want from him, and in this way we used to exchange goods for goods. And there, I'm talking about ancient times, there was no introduction of money, so there was no money during that time. So we all had to depend, our ancestors had to depend on barter system, where they used to exchange for goods. That is why it is known as CC economy. But in due course of time, barter system had its own problems, and there were so many problems that emerged due to the increasing population, due to the increasing needs of the people, and for various other reasons. The barter system proved unscientific, and it proved very disadvantageous rather to the people of those days. There were so many limitations in the barter system, which we are going to discuss now. Once again, I repeat, what is barter system? Barter system is the system in which people used to exchange goods for goods, and that's why it was also known as CC economy. So there were so many limitations of barter system. And the first system is, or rather first demerit is lack of unit of value. We hardly used to ascertain the value of a particular good. Okay, so what is the value? Suppose if I have a goat and I want a cow from somebody, so it was very difficult to ascertain the value of goat or value of cow, because there was no money during those days. So this was a basic demerit, I should say, or limitation of barter system, that there was a lack of unit of value. The second is lack of double coincidence of wants. So this is very difficult, rather I should say a very typical concept. Double coincidence of wants. So what I want, basically I would like to explain in a very simple way. What I want, that should be available with the person with whom I am going to exchange goods, and that person should also have what I want, and that person and I should also have that particular item what he wants. This is called rather double coincidence of wants, where what you have, simultaneous requirement should be fulfilled. What you have and what you want. Okay, what you want, the person with whom you are doing the transaction, he should have, and what he wants, that item should be with you. Then only the exchange used to be beneficial, or used to be happening. But that was a great difficulty. For example, I want a notebook, a fresh notebook from a person, and he wants a pen. So okay, I have a pen, I can give him. But when I go to him and take a deal, then definitely I want a notebook. He must possess a notebook. Then only the exchange will be possible. So that was a very, I should say, demerit rather of barter system. Then next is lack of standard of deferred payments. Deferred means postponing. So any payment nowadays, what happens? Some payments you can say deferred payments mean future payments. Future payments. For example, nowadays we are taking household items on installment basis, and so we are paying every month. Or sometimes we go to a market where suddenly we find that we don't have money to buy things. Then we assure the shopkeeper that tomorrow I'm going to pay, or day after tomorrow I'm going to pay. The future payments, it was not possible during those days. Okay, whatever you want, you just write at that point of time, you should exchange, and the person with whom you are exchanging, he should also possess the same thing, and immediately he will exchange the thing. So there was no question of future payments, because there was no money, and we used to depend on transfer of commodities for commodities. So that was a big demerit of barter system, the lack of standard of deferred payments. So we cannot, we could not make any future payments. That provision was not there because of not having money in circulation during those days. Next, lack of store of value. We also found it very difficult to ascertain the value of a particular good, or that was there, that is the lack of unit of value, but here store of value. We cannot store the things as we are doing nowadays. Suppose if I want to see my child for higher studies, so I require money, so I keep savings, I accumulate money so that I can use it for his studies in the future, and I know how much money I have because I can store the money, and I can take it out when it is necessary. So there, with the introduction of money, I am able to store the wealth. But during those days, it was not possible. Suppose if you are a carpenter, so what you will store? Okay, you have furniture, what you will store? You will store nothing, you cannot store nothing, because the moment what you want, if it is given from somebody and if it is exchangeable, then immediately you will be used to exchange. So these are the four difficult limitations which we had during the barter system era. So I should say barter system era, because that was quite old time and very ancient period where barter system used to exist. With all these difficulties, we used to manage, but gradually we found that it's difficult to go with barter system. So we thought of something new, and there came the money into existence. Okay, and there came the money into existence. So that we call evolution of money. How money started growing, and what was the period of growth of money, or how money evolved, and all these things. So the evolution of money, first we used to have commodity money. Immediately after the introduction of money, so we started with commodity money. Commodity money means we used to take stones, seashells, you can say small precious stones, that all we used to take it as a standard of money, and we used to exchange goods with that commodity money. Either we used to take precious stones, seashells, okay, all these things we used to use it as money, and that is why this money was called as commodity money. Then comes metallic money. Metallic money, you all know that we used to have, I should say, bronze coins, gold coins, silver coins. Okay, then there came the second part of the growth of the money, and that was metallic money, where the metals were used, and out of metals coins were made, and those coins were used as medium of exchange, or they were used as money. Then paper money, and then what we now have presently, paper money. So that came into existence. So commodity money gone, metallic money gone, and then we started having paper money, which nowadays we are having currency notes, 10 rupee note, 500 note, 1000, whatever currency notes are available, they are all known as paper money. Then comes credit money or bank money, we call it. Credit money and bank money. So these are all latest checks, demand drafts, and you can call it that plastic money also includes in this, like cards, debit card, credit card, all this. This is latest, very latest. That is credit money or credit bank money, we call it. So this is the basic thing what we should know about the evolution of money. First commodity money, metallic money, paper money, and then credit or bank money. Okay, I repeat, commodity money used to be considered as stones, seashells. Then metallic money, the coins which were made of metal, like gold, silver, bronze and all. Then came into existence the paper money, what we are using nowadays. Then very lately credit money or bank money, which is called DDs, cash, checks, then different types of cards, they all come under credit money. Okay, this is basically how money started growing, and what is the latest stage of money. So money basically, money is what money does. There was a famous economist, he said, money is what money does. Okay, this is a simple definition. Money is what money does. Whatever money does, that is called money. Whatever anything which is considered legally as money, and that works as money. Okay, now the functions of money, basically the money has got two types of functions rather. One is primary and the other one is secondary. Primary function of money and secondary function of money. The functions basically we discussed. Primary function, a unit of value, and a medium of exchange. There are two functions which come under primary category, that is a unit of value and a medium of exchange. Unit of value, we know that anything which has, we can ascertain the value of a particular good with the help of money. So that is the main function, the function of primary function rather. The money ascertains the value of a particular good. That is why it is called a unit of money. Then a medium of exchange, money is used. What is the function of the money? That is what we are discussing. Function of money, that means money uses as money works as a medium of exchange. Okay, if you have money, you can buy things, you can go to a shop, you can buy what you want with the help of the money. So money plays a very, very important role, and its main function is to make sure or ensure the medium of exchange takes place smoothly. Then we come to secondary function. There are two functions again here. One is a standard of deferred payments. As I said, deferred payment means future payments, right? So whatever, suppose if you want to have any future transactions, or transactions done, but you want to pay in future, so that money helps you. Because suppose say 10,000 rupees, I purchased some grocery items from a shop and assured him that I will pay next month. So no problem, next month you can pay, because you know what is the value, what is the money, and that is possible if the shopkeeper agrees on it. This is all on mutual trust, and you can pay after 1 month the amount which is due. Next, a store of value, and with the introduction of money, now it's become very easy for us to store money, either in cash or in kind or in gold or in silver, whatever way we want to save, we can save, and money helps us to store the wealth, rather I should say, to store the wealth. Okay, so these are the basic things. If I continue the entire money chapter continuously for many more minutes, then it would be very interesting. You will feel bored. So I just cut short it. This has been whatever I have been discussing. This is all in one module, and module number 2 we will have again. Of course, the topic remains same, money and banking. Module number 2 will be there. Module number 3 will be there, and if possible, module number 4 will also be there. And these 4 modules will cover the entire topic, money and banking. I hope it will help you all to understand. What you have to do is that you watch the video, see the content, listen the explanation, and if possible, write them down on your notebook and just study well and do well. All the best. Hope you enjoyed the video.